Tough.
Tough is an understatement.
I
Like,
felt sorry for Mel.
I did too. It took Martell a long time to answer
Right.
that question about
Right.
the possibilities of what if.
Took way too long. Matter of fact, he never answered it. That made it even worse.
Right.
No, I don't like that you and Marceau said y'all would stay and hang out with somebody that you know was actively involved with, like somebody messing around.
And you think that being there makes you complicit? Okay.
I think that you have an influence on someone.
Once you stay, you make a choice to participate.
No, you don't, because you're not
I-
cheating. I've been around Martell and her. I didn't see their interactions. So I didn't see she makes me feel this way or whatever, right? In that situation, I told Martell, bro, this is not it. This is not what you should be doing. But going forward,
I'm not leaving a party because somebody's cheating. No, I'm not.
Sometimes the truth doesn't explode like a bomb. Sometimes it moves quietly, like a whisper that slowly turns into a storm. And at 31 years old, Melody Shari finally decided to stop protecting feelings, stop holding back, and tell the world what really happened between her and the woman she once trusted, Kimmi Scott. But here's what makes this different. This wasn't just about drama. It wasn't just about a disagreement.
What about Kimmi insisting you had the shakes? Damn, it went away again. Insisting you had the shakes. As a nurse, do you think her comments were dangerous? I do. Yeah. I don't know. If you look at the hug, it's very quick. I don't know how she could have felt me having the shakes from just like a, hey, how you doing? How am I? Hey, you know, am I doing all that or something? Like, I don't know how. I don't know. I think it's very irresponsible of her as a nurse to say anything like that or put anything like that out and give them more ammo to be able to say things that are not true. So yeah, I do.
Melody says it was about betrayal, loyalty, and realizing that sometimes the person you thought was protecting you was actually protecting themselves. And when Melody finally opened up, not in anger, not in pettiness, but in clarity, it left everyone speechless. Because the truth, it wasn't messy, it was heartbreaking.
Recall when you wanted us to go to one of the galas around Christmas time. And my response was, I don't feel like being bougie, I want to be with my family. Like, I don't want to spend all
But
my
why I
time.
gotta be considered bougie because you don't want to go to galas? Just so we clear.
But
so
this
going to
is what I'm
galas is something
saying. You
being
ask
bougie.
for examples, and when
You're
you get
getting
them,
it. I hear you.
you don't want them.
No, I hear you. Now, I'm not gonna change anything about, because like you say all the time, hey, Kimmi, with Kimmi, what you see is what you get. I am who
And
I
it
am.
is, and that's
the same
exactly
thing with
correct.
me.
The
Accept it
difference
or you
is
don't
I
want to
own it.
accept it. Well, I'm not finna own
There's
it.
the
Say I'm
difference.
bougie.
I
I'm sorry.
own it. I don't know why, because
What makes a person bougie?
look in the mirror.
All I know today is not the same Mel I used to hang out with. She was bougie but fun. You know, it was different. But today it's like a whole new Mel, and I just don't even know.
I can't be around folks that think that I act like I'm bougie or better than anybody when I'm not. Nothing has changed in my life to make me start acting a certain way. The things I do, the things I buy.
That's so inaccurate.
But to understand why Melody's words hit so deeply, we have to go back to where this all began. Back when both of these women stood side by side, facing the world, fighting through their own storms. What changed? What went unsaid? And why does Melody now say, some people don't show their loyalty in how they stand with you, but in how they stay silent? Let's unpack the truth Melody finally revealed and why it shook Huntsville.
You know, well, I have the blueprint. I have the blueprint.
She's referring to her and
She
her
was like,
marriage
no.
as the blueprint.
She said, yeah, I have the blueprints. I have the blueprints. You know, with Marcel, you gotta put your foot down. You gotta let him know what you stand like. I left Martell for 6 months, and that whipped him into shape. I don't know. You think maybe she's telling me I need to leave Marcel for a little bit?
Honey, no. And if she was, that's the most ridiculous I've ever heard, ever.
Yeah.
I don't think Mel is in the best position to give blueprints or marital advice. Because you have 10 years to your back, doesn't necessarily mean that the road was not rough. So She can keep her advice. You trying to reach some of your goals are gonna be incongruent with some of the goals he's trying to reach. You just gotta find a happy medium.
I think she believed that they have done that. They're there at that point in their life.
And so he
she's
had to
like,
cheat to get there?
There was a time when people saw Melody and Kimmi as the strong, level-headed women of Love and Marriage Huntsville. They weren't loud, they weren't messy, and they didn't just exist for drama. They had dreams, families, marriages, and most of all, dignity. When Melody faced the darkest moments of her life, her marriage breaking apart in front of millions, her trust shattering, her pain becoming public entertainment, it was Kimmi who many believed was quietly supporting her. Not with loud words, but with calm advice, emotional maturity, and a sense of empathy. At least, that's what viewers thought.
Owes my family an apology. More so because a lot of times he'll have this perspective of it was a joke or I was trying to be funny, and it did not land at all.
Melody was fighting battles she didn't choose. She was betrayed, embarrassed, and left to rebuild herself from pieces. During that time, she believed Kimmi understood the weight of what she was going through. She believed Kimmi wasn't just another cast member, but a friend. Someone who might not take sides, but at least wouldn't dismiss her pain. After all, they sat together, talked privately about hurt, about womanhood, about standing strong when the people closest to you let you down. Kimmi would nod, listen, say she understood. But time changes people. Or maybe time just reveals them. As Melody's marriage crumbled under the spotlight, something shifted. She noticed not everyone wanted to stand with the truth. Not everyone wanted to call things what they were. Some wanted to remain neutral. Some wanted to avoid labels. Some didn't want to rock the boat. And Melody later realized sometimes neutrality isn't kindness. Sometimes it's convenience. And slowly, their respectful bond turned into something fragile. It wasn't sudden, it was subtle. A comment here, a silence there. A moment where Melody thought Kimmi would defend her and didn't. A moment where Melody expected support and got distance. A moment where she needed understanding and got technical explanations. And those little moments, they build up. Until finally, Melody said, "Enough." Now here's where the story twists. Melody didn't expose Kimmi with anger. She didn't scream, she didn't insult, she didn't try to drag her. Instead, she calmly revealed the emotional truth behind years of quietly growing distance. Melody explained that it wasn't about Kimmi taking Martel's side or defending the mistress. It was about something deeper, something Melody called soft betrayal. Not betrayal through words, not betrayal through actions, but betrayal through silence. Melody revealed that while she was fighting publicly to reclaim her dignity, some people, including Kimmi, chose to stay silent in moments that could have mattered the most. And that silence, it didn't feel neutral. It felt dismissive. It felt like her pain didn't matter enough to be acknowledged. It felt like emotional abandonment. Melody described it in simple words. Sometimes it's not the people who hurt you that you remember. It's the people who stayed quiet while it happened. And that line caught everyone's attention. She explained that loyalty isn't always loud, but it's not always silent either. Real loyalty is knowing when to speak up and when silence becomes complicity. Then Melody got even more personal. She said she didn't expect Kimmi to fight her battles or attack anyone. But what she didn't expect was Kimmi publicly minimizing what she went through, refusing to call her hurt what it truly was. Infidelity isn't just a mistake, it's betrayal, it's shattering, it changes everything. But when Kimmi refused to use the word side chick, when she avoided calling things what they clearly were, it wasn't just about protecting the other woman. It was, in Melody's eyes, a failure to protect the truth. That was the breaking point. But here's the twist. Melody revealed that she didn't just feel disappointed, she felt like Kimmi's reactions came from a place deeper than neutrality. Melody suggested that Kimmi's reluctance to speak boldly about infidelity might come from her own discomfort, maybe even personal fears. Melody hinted that sometimes people avoid labeling something because it hits too close to home. That theory changed everything. She didn't accuse Kimmi outright. She didn't call her disloyal. She simply said, "People stay silent on things they're afraid to face." And that sentence felt like a mirror. Suddenly, the entire conversation shifted. This wasn't about labels. It wasn't about naming the other woman. It was about emotional honesty. It was about whether people could stand for truth, even when it made them uncomfortable. And the cast noticed. Some defended Kimmi. Others quietly admitted they now understood Melody's pain a little differently. Because betrayal isn't always loud. Sometimes it looks like a calm smile, a gentle nod, and a quiet refusal to acknowledge your pain. Sometimes it's wrapped in neutrality. Sometimes it hides in silence. Emotionally, Melody said the impact was bigger than fans realized. It wasn't just about a broken friendship, it was about clarity. She realized that not everyone who listens truly hears you, not everyone who comforts truly supports you, and not everyone who avoids conflict is doing it out of kindness. Some people avoid conflict to protect themselves. And that realization, though painful, helped Melody grow. She understood that loyalty is not about being loud, not about picking sides, and not about being messy. It's about courage, the courage to stand for someone even when it's not politically safe, the courage to say what happened to you was wrong, even when it's inconvenient, the courage to call things what they are. And when she accepted that Kimmi wasn't going to give her that kind of loyalty, she didn't get angry. She got free. And that, she says, is why she is finally speaking, not to create conflict, not to expose anyone, but to show that healing sometimes means letting go of the people who refuse to see your pain. So now, where does that leave them? Melody doesn't hate Kimmi. She doesn't resent her. In fact, she said she still respects her, but respect doesn't always mean closeness, and sometimes distance can be the healthiest form of peace. She called their relationship emotionally safe, but not emotionally close. They can coexist, they can be polite, they can even speak respectfully. But trust? That's gone. And Melody is okay with that. She said, "I used to need people to validate my pain. Now I just need them not to deny it." That line hit deep. Because sometimes acceptance doesn't come from others. Sometimes it comes from finally accepting the truth yourself. And Melody, she accepted it. She isn't looking back. She isn't asking for apologies. She isn't begging for loyalty. She is simply moving forward with clarity, peace, and strength. So, what can we learn from this? Sometimes the biggest heartbreak doesn't come from enemies. It comes from the people who simply didn't show up when you needed them the most. But maybe that's okay. Because not every person in your story is meant to stay until the end. Some are just chapters, important, meaningful, unforgettable chapters, but not the whole book. Melody's journey reminds us, not everyone will fight for you. Not everyone will understand your pain. Not everyone will know what to say. But the ones who care, they won't stay silent. So maybe silence isn't neutral. Maybe silence answers the question you were afraid to ask. And sometimes silence tells you everything. What do you think? Was Melody right to finally speak her truth? Was Kimmi misunderstood or simply emotionally unavailable? Did silence become a form of betrayal, or was she really just trying to avoid conflict? And now, as the dust settles, one thing becomes very clear. Melody didn't share her truth to destroy anyone. She didn't reveal this to attack Kimmi or create more drama. She spoke because silence had gone on for too long. And sometimes silence isn't peace. Sometimes silence is the very thing that keeps pain alive. She finally realized that closure doesn't always come from apologies or from people suddenly understanding how deeply they hurt you. Sometimes closure comes from accepting that they never will and choosing to move forward anyway. Melody said it best. I don't hate her. I don't blame her. I just no longer expect her to see what she never tried to understand. And maybe that's the most real kind of healing, not needing people to change, but choosing to protect your own peace instead. Some friendships don't end with a fight. Sometimes they simply fade when truth reveals that your strength, your pain, and your growth were never truly safe in their hands. Melody isn't bitter. She's wiser. She isn't seeking revenge. She's seeking peace. And her message is clear. You can forgive someone and still move on without them. You can love people from a distance. You can heal without reopening the door. And that's why this story matters. Not because of the drama, not because of the conflict, but because of the reminder it gives to all of us that sometimes the people we thought would protect us simply won't. But we will learn to protect ourselves. So now I ask you, was this betrayal, misunderstanding, or simply emotional distance? Let's talk about it in the comments. Make sure to subscribe because the truth? This isn't the end. It's just the beginning.